This is Bernard Rose from Trailers from Hell, and I want to talk today about Sorcerer, which was William Friedkin's much maligned and for a long time butchered and controversial follow-up to The Exorcist. And I think essentially the film's problem started from the fact that if you make The Exorcist, which probably one of the biggest hits of all time ever, certainly in the horror genre, and your follow-up is called Sorcerer and is not a horror film, there is bound to be a little confusion. What Sorcerer actually was a remake of Henri Clouzot's masterpiece, Le Salaire de la Peur, The Wages of Fear, which is about desperate men driving trucks full of nitroglycerin to blow up a wellhead that's caught fire. It's basically the plot of both films, but honestly, it's a very rare example where I think both the original and the remake are masterpieces. I can't think of any other instance where that's the case. They're both very different films. And I think Friedkin's concept for it is much bigger, much grander than Clouzot's. It's kind of a grander concept in a way, and a smaller concept. Sometimes it feels like a little movie that got exploded into something huge through Friedkin's ego, and sometimes it just feels like the best movie you've seen from the 70s. The original version, it's certainly the missing masterpiece from that era of truly great films, and it rounds out a trilogy of masterpieces that Friedkin made in that period, which are The French Connection, The Exorcist, and Sorcerer. And Sorcerer is as good as the other two, if not better in certain ways, because when he finally does get into the whole thing of driving the trucks full of nitroglycerin through the jungle, he delivers action sequences which I would argue are possibly the best ever filmed. And what's so unique and brilliant about the two action sequences that are really, really terrific in Sorcerer is that unlike in modern films where impossible, ludicrous things happen all the time, people fly off buildings and bounce off trucks, and that's supposed to be an action sequence, that's really just an animated sequence. But there's a sequence in Sorcerer where they're driving these trucks full of nitroglycerin across a rope bridge that's swaying in a storm over a raging river. And you just have to see this scene to believe it, because it's perfectly obvious that it's a real storm on a real bridge over a real river with a truck. And whether or not it's full of nitroglycerin doesn't matter at that point. Everybody looks like they're in danger. And the scene is exhausting, and he takes one track across the bridge, and then without giving a damn for what you think, he then takes the next one across, and without it ever becoming absurd and without it being removed from the laws of physics and probability, it is a scene of magisterial tension and excitement and character as well. It's an absolute masterpiece of filmmaking, and so not overdone. I think if anybody's ever even slightly interested in directing action on any level, you'd have to say that these scenes in Sorcerer are right up at the very top of what's ever been achieved.